US vaccine is 3 true food delivery order service with ransom by nighttime spooks. Like, the link to the video will be the description below. Go and check them out. So let's introduce this vaccine. 3, 2, 1.
About a year.
But no. It apparently it's about DoorDash and Uber Eats.
A year ago, I started working as a delivery driver for DoorDash.
DoorDash, yeah, DoorDash.
Living with my parents during the summer back home from college. I remember not too long after I started, I decided to work one Friday night because I didn't have anything going on, and I knew I could make a lot of money. I started at maybe 5 p.m. and stayed busy throughout the entire night.
Yeah.
During the night, I went all around my hometown, which wasn't that big of a city, but still had almost everything you could want in food.
Yeah.
I remember that it was about 11 p.m., and things were getting much quieter, with not nearly as many restaurants being open anymore.
Yeah.
I was getting tired and planning to stop soon, but decided to take another delivery. This one was from McDonald's, and I headed there to pick it up. I arrived at the 24-hour McDonald's in town, and I received the bag of food, then went on my way with delivering it. The address was about 10 minutes away from the McDonald's. I'd been to that area before, but not that particular neighborhood. When I arrived on the street, it was not very well lit, and very dark. And really dark. There were houses sort of far apart from each other, and I could tell this street was a little more rural. I arrived at the address and pulled into the driveway.
Yeah.
The house had a really long and narrow driveway, with overgrown bushes on each side of it.
Yeah.
I got out of my car and walked up to the front step. All of the lights in the house seemed to be off. I knocked on the door, but received no answer.
What the? That's a little odd. Why is nobody answered the door? And why was the lights off? That's odd. Why the all the DoorDash if they're not gonna be on or be asleep?
I decided to just leave the food on the front step and then go on my way. I walked up the step and back to my car, which was sitting in the driveway. When I reached my car and got back inside, I decided that I would be done for the night and would go home. I backed out of the driveway that I was in, and before I had reached the street, I noticed something. The car that had been parked at the top of the driveway in front of the garage suddenly turned on.
Suddenly turn on? What the? Why did the car suddenly turn on? That's a little suspicious.
It startled me because I had no idea that anybody had been inside of it.
Yeah.
The car then started backing out of the driveway after me at a very fast speed.
What the?
As I drove off down the street, I couldn't help but notice the way the car was driving behind me. It was rather jerky and was speeding up, then slowing down, but also following me. I took several turns, with the car making all the same ones.
Why is the car following you? Why?
Before long, it became obvious to me that I was being followed by this seemingly reckless driver.
Yeah.
As I got close to home, I called my dad and told him that I was being followed and what was going on. He told me to just drive home and not to panic. I did my best to keep calm and drove back home. It took me maybe 10 more minutes to get there. When I arrived, I pulled into the driveway and the car behind me did the same. This made me really nervous, but then I saw my dad walking through the front yard, headed right towards the car in the driveway behind me.
Yeah.
My dad's a pretty big guy, about 6'5", and has a pretty large build. Still, I thought
6.5. Wow, that's a tall guy.
he was crazy to approach a car with who knows who inside of it. But almost as quickly as the car pulled into the driveway, it backed out and sped off into the night. I ran inside, feeling much safer now that the car was gone. I'm lucky that my dad was home, because I'm guessing whoever was following me was hoping I would be going to some place alone.
Yeah. But my question is, why was the car following him? Oh. That's a little odd. It's suspicious. and creepy. Number 2.
I'm about to tell you my creepiest experience from being a food delivery driver. I used to deliver for Uber Eats a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I'd mostly do it on the weekends here and there, and it was a great way for me to make some extra cash.
Yeah.
One night, as I was working, I had a fast food delivery to make. I drove to the location, which was a house. It was a smaller house, and when I arrived, it was just after sunset. I parked my car, got out, and walked up to the door. As I was walking up, I took a notice of the house, which seemed pretty average to me. The strange thing was as I got up to the door, it opened. I didn't see anybody at all, but the door just sort of swung open slightly, and there was about 6 inches of a gap.
What the? Why did the door open with nobody on the other side? Okay, that's a little creepy. I would just leave the food on the sub and just book it up though. Yeah.
I walked up just outside of it and stood there with the food.
Yeah.
I thought maybe somebody had seen me coming up and was going to answer the door, but got preoccupied with something. After a few seconds, I decided to knock on the already open door. I didn't want to just walk in or leave the food there with the door open. From the gap that was still open, all I saw was darkness, as if every room in the house had the lights off. This seemed a little bit strange and creepy. Then, out of nowhere,
what about the lights off in ours?
I heard a really creepy and disturbing laugh. It was the kind of laugh you would hear in a horror movie or something like that. It sounded like a man was maybe 10 feet away inside the door. There was no way I was sticking around there. I set the food down on the ground right in front of the door. Right after I did this, I heard the laughter getting closer. And then I saw the door start to slowly swing open even further. I didn't stay to see who was behind it at all, and I sprinted away from the house to my car. I drove away and feeling really creeped out.
I will do the something. Yeah.
Decided to just go home. This experience was scary enough for me, but it didn't end there. The next night, really late, right before I was going to go to bed, my phone started to ring suddenly. With it being after midnight, of course, this was odd. I looked at my phone, but it didn't have a number or location listed. I chose not to answer it because of this, but moments later, I got a notification that there was a new voicemail. I clicked on it and played it. When I listened, I heard that same creepy laughter. It was about 10 seconds of non-stop creepy laughter that I had heard at the house the previous night. I was so creeped out by it.
Creepy laughter. That
I turned off my phone. Since then, I never got another voicemail with that creepy laugh, but I still wonder about who it was. Maybe it was just someone trying to scare me for some reason. And if it was, they sure succeeded.
Number 3.
When I was a senior in high school, I used to work for a local restaurant in town as a delivery driver. The only reason I got the job in the first place is because my uncle owned the restaurant and my cousins would work at it, so it was really easy for me to get the job there. It was nice because my uncle would let me almost choose my own hours and had really flexible scheduling.
Yeah.
For those reasons, I loved it. I remember that one time, it was nighttime and shortly before we closed. This would have been maybe between 9:30 and 10 p.m., and I got sent out for a delivery all the way across town. It would take me almost 15 minutes to reach the destination, so I knew this would be my last delivery for the night. I drove to the location, and when I reached it, I saw that I wouldn't be able to park in the driveway. There appeared to be several cars already there, blocking any space that I could take in the driveway, so I decided to park across the street on the side of the road that I saw some other cars parked on. I got the food out of my car, then left, and walked across the street to the house. I went up the driveway that had about 5 cars in it, and then went to knock on the door, but saw that there was a post-it note on it. The note said to leave the food on the step, and my tip was there as well. I could see that there was a $5 bill laying on the step, so I left the food there, picked up the money, and then walked back to my car. When I got back inside my car, I was excited to be done with work for the day. All I would have to do is go back to the restaurant and clock out. I began driving back, but just as I started, something didn't feel right, as if I had forgotten something. Maybe I had dropped my phone or wallet on the ground. but I couldn't put my finger on exactly what it was, so I checked my pockets. My phone was there, but my wallet wasn't. I panicked and looked around the seat next to me, but luckily it was on the passenger seat. But just as I was doing so, I had noticed something. I looked in the seat behind me, and then I saw it. There was a guy sitting behind my passenger seat, between the floor and the seat, ducking down.
What is the guy hiding in the back seat of your car? What the? That's a little creepy and suspicious.
My car was kind of messy all the time, so he was able to really blend in pretty well. When I noticed him, I saw him look up and make eye contact with me at the same time. The guy started to get up. I freaked out and slammed on the brakes, pulling over to the side of the road. I almost spun out from slamming on the brakes so hard, and everything in the car went jerking around, and the guy slid almost to the other seat in the back. Literally the second the car stopped, I flung open the driver's door and ran outside into the middle of the road. The roads were mostly quiet now, but as I got out, I saw a car happen to be driving on the road that I had run into. The car had to basically slam on its brakes to avoid hitting me, and the driver rolled down his window and leaned out to me. Meanwhile, all that was going through my head was getting away from this random guy who was in my car. The guy in my car did not leave and chase after me, though. Instead, he moved up into the driver's seat and drove away in my car. The guy who I was standing in the middle of the road blocking asked if I was okay and what was wrong with me. I told him my car had been stolen and to please call the police. After talking to him a little more, the guy was nice enough to pull over and call the police, and then waited there until they arrived a short time later. From there, I answered questions from the police, and my parents came by a short time later to pick me up. About a week after this, my car was found 2 cities over, abandoned, but the man who stole it was never found.
What the? The guy was never found. What the? Where did that guy go? At least they found your car. That's one good thing. But what happened to the guy? That's a little suspicious. Wow. That was wow. There were 3 food delivery order service with one song by Nighttime Spooks. The link to the video will be in the description below. Go and check them out. And drop a like if you like, and comment down below if you want to see more reactions like this one. And subscribe if you're new, and click the bell to be notified when I upload in the month. Bye.